Right. I think he's looking at space. We're good. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us today. My name is Benjamin Johnson. I'm the events coordinator here at McNally Robinson Booksellers in Saskatoon. This event is being held on Treaty 6 territory, which is the homeland of the Cree, Saulteaux, Dene, Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota, and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. As we listen to our speakers share their words today, may we recognize the Indigenous stories that have been shared on this land since time immemorial. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the Saskatoon launch of The Best Gift Ever by Wilfred Burton, published by Heritage House. Thank you so much to Wilfred for being here today on Independent Bookstore Day of all days, and for working with us to make this event happen. Just to note, this event is being live streamed, so please be aware of the webcam off to our right. And I'd also like to take this time to encourage you to silence your phones for the duration of the event. If you would like to buy copies of The Best Gift Ever or any other titles of Wilfred's, we have some up at the front over there by where you came in, as well as on the signing table behind us. You are welcome to get it signed before you purchase it, but please purchase it if you get it signed. Without further ado, and probably unnecessarily for many of you, allow me to introduce our author. Wilfred Burton, a proud Michif, grew up in the Midnight Lake area of Saskatchewan. He was an elementary teacher, university instructor, and literacy coordinator for over 30 years. He's currently retired in Saskatoon and spends his time with his two cats, Leo and Baptiste. He enjoys writing, reading, gardening, beading, rug hooking, and doing volunteer work in his community. He's a published author of several Métis-specific picture books. His love of storytelling, fiddle music, and dance were gifts from his mother, Georgina Nolan, gifts he loves to share with others through presentations and writing. Everyone, please give Wilfred a warm welcome.
Wow, thanks everybody for coming today through the snow. I had all these messages this morning going, oh, I'm so sorry I can't come. The roads are so bad, or oh, I'm so sorry I can't come because I'm going to Michif bingo. Or oh, I'm so sorry I can't come because we're making moccasins today, or oh, I'm so sorry I can't come because and so I thought, oh God, there's going to be nobody here, but look at this, you guys braved it, so thank you so much. Okay, so thanks for coming. I have family here, so thanks for that, and maybe some family online. Hello to everybody online as well. And it's really humbling to see such a good crowd today, especially when it's not that pleasant outside. And it's really nice to see children here because I write books for children. So if it's always just for adults that come to these things, I kind of wonder, oh, I wonder when the kids are going to see the books. But thanks to all the kids that are here today. That's excellent. I also want to thank our community, our Métis community, for showing up at these launches. I see all kinds of people here from our community. So in the last 6 or 7 months, I've published several books. Koohkoom's Royal Bannock, which we launched here, which was great. And then If This Buffalo Coat Could Talk, we launched it here as well. And then we launched Roland's Kitten Broken Promises in Lorette. So sorry, Benjamin, we didn't do that one here. And of course, thanks to Gabby Press for publishing a lot of my books at the beginning. And then, of course, Roland's Kitten Broken Promises just this past year. And then, of course, I want to thank all the educators, because a lot of people here are teachers, and I know that they take them to their classrooms and that they use them in the classroom. And of course, I can't forget my writing group. Hi. My writing group is here. We have Elena's here, Court is here, Rita's here, and Tanya is also part of our writing group. We just met this past week, and it's a really good little writing group. We get lots of excellent feedback, and we get to encourage each other to publish. So a huge thank you to Heritage House Press. This is my first experience with Heritage House. They're out of British Columbia. And so they're publishing actually this story and another story that's coming out in the next year or so. And it's also the first story that I've had published in 3 languages. So It's in English and Michif, and then also French and Michif. So that's exciting. So I've had lots of firsts this year. I've had first YA novel, first hardcover, first French. So that's exciting for me. There was a team at Heritage House that I wanted to go to recognize. So there's Laura, Kimiko, Rachel, and then Nicole translated the story into French, and then Norman translated into Michif. And so it was a very enjoyable process working with Heritage House. So I recommend it to anybody else. They're a really great publishing company to work with. I was particularly excited when they said that they were open to publishing it in Michif. So that was really exciting. The book that's coming out through Heritage House in the future is called Nookum Makes the World Go Round. So I'm kind of excited about that one too. Okay, so back to the book. So the seed of the idea for this book came quite a long time ago when I was working in Regina in the SunTech program at University of Regina. And every year we did something called OCHR, which is the off-campus residential school experience. And it's kind of like what we call land-based learning now. So we would go out for the week and we do all kinds of stuff on the land. And at this particular year, we went to Fort San. They don't do that at Fort San anymore. And on the last evening of the trip, we always invited family to come for kind of like, not really a potluck, but to come and enjoy food and support their relatives and their friends and whatnot. But on this particular occasion, one of the students had a surprise for her grandpa. And it was so impactful. At that moment, I went, I think this needs to be a children's story. And so I set to work and I wrote the story. And that was 20 some years ago. So finally it's now being published. I did send it to other publishers and they wanted to change it. So obviously I said no. And then finally Heritage House said they would. Oh, excuse me. So I won't tell you too much more about the story because it'll spoil it while I'm reading it. So, but I want to mention that I dedicated the book to every Métis, Michif, SunTech student and alumni who had to leave their home to pursue higher education. So we actually have a lot of SunTech grads here today, and I never went to SunTech because SunTech didn't exist when I graduated from high school. But I taught a lot of students who had to leave their home communities. Some of them had children and they had to move to the city, and it was hard. It was very, very hard. So I dedicate this book to all of them. Okay, so now I guess I can read the story. Usually we have a host, but we don't have a host this time. So I'm just doing it myself. So it's called The Best Gift Ever. And in Michif, it's called Kishchi, miiyeur, prayzoon. And in French, it's called something else. It's called Le Plus Beau des Cadeaux. Kind of rhymes, it kind of fun. So here we go. It's written by me. It's illustrated by Natalie Lauren. And Natalie is from Ontario. She's a Métis woman from Georgian Bay. And it's translated into Michif by Norman Fleury.
I have a good story. Yeah.
Okay, well, you can tell it to me after. Okay? So here we go. Gabby loved her Mooshoom and Koohkoom more than anything in the world. More than bannock and jam, more than bullets and bangs. She loved how Koohkoom cheered her up with funny songs and how Mooshoom's fiddle music made her feel all happy inside. Mooshoom and Koohkoom had 27 grandchildren. They loved them all. Gabby was the youngest and the only one who loved fiddle music more than fish love water. The other grandchildren liked the music, but Gabby loved it. Anybody here with 27 grandchildren? Darn. Every year, the whole family gathered at their grandparents' house for Christmas. After everyone opened presents and ate until they burst, Mooshoom played his fiddle. As always, Gabby plopped herself down next to him. This time, as Mooshoom tuned his fiddle, Gabby noticed it looked different. She touched the shiny old wood with its bumps and scratches. She was surprised that it felt so smooth, smooth as the cuffs on her moccasins. Gabby couldn't believe her ears. Make your old Mooshoom proud, he said as he handed it to her with a big kiss and hug. Gabby was too shy to say anything, but inside she was bursting with happiness. I love the perspective of this picture, right? Kind of looking down. Right after the holidays, Gabby's mom started university classes in the city. They had to move far away from her Mooshoom and Koohkoom. Gabby missed them so much. She didn't get to see them every day or even once a year. She missed the sounds of her old home, the sounds of the birds singing, the distant call of a coyote, and the rollicking rhythm of the reels Mooshoom played. She especially missed the feeling of those big squishy hugs and smooches from Koohkoom. When Gabby was 7, she went to see her grandparents for Christmas. How's the fiddle playing going, my girl? Mooshoom asked. Gabby shrugged her shoulders. She couldn't tell him they didn't have any money for lessons. When Gabby was 9, she went to her grandparents for Easter. How's the fiddle playing going, my girl? Mooshoom asked. Gabby just shrugged her shoulders. She couldn't tell him how she sounded because she was learning tunes from the internet. When Gabby was 11, she went to see her grandparents for Thanksgiving. How's the fiddle playing going, my girl? Asked Mooshoom. Gabby shrugged her shoulders. She couldn't tell him it was so hard, and she wasn't good enough to even play one tune correctly. And when Gabby was 15, she went to see her grandparents during the summer holidays. Mooshoom wasn't feeling well. His arthritis made his fingers all crooked and bent. He couldn't play the fiddle anymore. He didn't ask her this time how the fiddling was going. I'm sure lots of us feel that. Let's have a barbecue outside for supper, Gabby's mom said. We can cook the hot dogs and the marshmallows over the fire. How about some bannock on a stick too, suggested Koohkoom. Everyone liked that idea. And after supper, Koohkoom started singing her favorite song, Kispin Kisakian, while she danced around the campfire. Everyone joined in. Everybody has a grandma like that, right? Likes to sing and dance and get everybody involved. And then all of a sudden, Mooshoom put his hand and exclaimed, "What's that I hear? Listen, everyone." My name's Joseph. This is Joseph Desjardins, and I conned him into doing this today. I'll finish the story and then Joseph will play some more tunes. It got very quiet. What was emerging from the darkness? It sounds like a fiddle. The Red River Jig, said Mooshoom excitedly. Who's that playing? The music got louder and louder, and then finally through the darkness a shape took form as it came closer and closer to the fire. Help me up, Mooshoom said as he pushed himself out of his chair. With shaking hands, he grabbed his cane and slowly moved towards the shape. I love the movement on this page of the colors and stuff. It's my girl, Gabby, he cried. With tears in his eyes, he hugged her for a very long time. The big squishy kind that she missed so much. I thought you'd lost that old fiddle years ago. Well, I wanted to learn the Red River Jig just for you. I waited until I was good enough, Gabby replied. I wanted you to be proud of me. I am, said Mooshoom. This is the biggest surprise. My girl, better than bannock and jam, more than bullets and bangs. It's the best gift ever. And that's the end of the story. So I really want to hear Joseph play a couple more tunes, right? If the kids want to come up or anybody want to come up and do a little jig in the aisle, go ahead.
I like to play sitting, so I'm going to stay right here. That's okay. That's okay. All right. I'm just going to play a big blast of tunes. See what happens.
Anybody else want to try? You also want to stick out? Thanks, Joseph, and thanks, girls, for dancing. That was an excellent job. I think the girls deserve another big spot. Okay, so I just want to end the presentation by saying more thank yous. So the student that did this for her grandpa, her name is Rashanda, and I don't know if Rashanda's online, but and her Mooshoom's name was Ambone. Isn't that a great name? And so so from that moment, there was a lot of things going on in my head, and I thought, yeah, that needs to be a story. And so that's finally it came to fruition. Finally. So thanks for Shanda and to Hambo. So I told that story over and over again, like for many years, and I always got a tear in my eye, like every time I told that story. And I kind of I've gone out of that now. I don't get a tear every time I tell that story because now it's in a book form and it can live on, right? So I don't have to have a tear in my eye for that. A big shout out to Joseph for going along with our little surprise and hiding behind the bookshelves in there until it was his time to come out.
They very nicely put me in the astronomy section.
He was looking at space books. And of course, he's a student of John Arcand. So I'm not sure if you're familiar, but John Arcand used to drive from Saskatoon and go to Alacrosse and teach. It started grade 5, I think.
Yeah.
Grade 5, and Joseph was one of his really good students, and he's continued to play. And I think there's a few others that have continued to play as well. Joseph would know that. And yeah, just thanks for coming, everybody. And especially to all those people online that didn't want to brave the snowy streets. And of course, to Benjamin from McNally, who's always a very gracious host. He's always really quick to answer emails, which is really nice for people like me. And it's really nice to always work with McNally because not all bookstores are supportive of local authors. And so it's really, really nice that McNally does support us in that way. And yeah, so just stay tuned. We have other books coming out. Nook Makes the World Go Around, Rio's Dream, which is kind of a fun little story, and Buffalo Bone Hunters. So those are the 3 that are kind of in the works. But if we have any questions, I can answer a few questions.
I have a microphone right here that I am going to turn down. Hold on.
And I have some bookmarks, so if you want bookmarks, you can give up some bookmarks.
I have if they ask a question, maybe they get a bookmark.
Cleo, do you want to come pass them out with your friend?
But yes, if you have any questions, please just raise your hand. I'll run the microphone to you so that we can all hear.
Yeah, so just give the bookmarks to, you can take that side and you can take that side. Give them to people who would like one. Ask me a hard question.
Oh, perfect.
Hi, when you're writing a book, how do you decide who you're going to choose as an illustrator? Do you have options, or do you have someone in mind as you're writing it? Or do you kind of visualize something already as you're putting the words to paper?
So that's a good question. It works quite differently with different publishers. So when I was publishing with Gabriel Dumont Institute, which is here in Saskatoon, they took suggestions, and usually it's another Métis person or somebody locally in the province of Saskatchewan. Thistledown was also from Saskatoon, and they did the same thing. Other publishers, like from other parts of Canada, they often choose the illustrator themselves, or they give you a choice. So in this case, they gave me a choice of several illustrators, and I said which one I kind of liked and would fit into the story. Thanks, girls. Did you take one too? Yeah, so that's kind of how that works. But the illustrative process is quite fun. I can draw, but I can't draw that well. And so we do these little storyboards. And so we kind of sketch out how we visualize that page to look from the perspective and kind of where the characters are placed and what items you kind of want on that page. And then it just gives the illustrator some ideas. They can take it or they won't have to take it. But lots of times they do. George illustrated a book for me. George is up here. And so we did the same thing then. Talked about what the people would look like, what they were wearing, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, you do get a bit of say in it, some more than others. But I have a funny little story. So another publisher that I'm working with is in London, England right now. And they sent me the drawings for the book that they're publishing. And the book is about going out onto the land around Saskatoon, kind of out by Round Prairie, all the way over to Dundurn area. And they're picking the buffalo bones. And so when they sent it back to me, the buffalo was a water buffalo, and not the kind of buffalo that we have. And the Red River cart was like a Scottish cart, you know, with the 4 wheels that are big, huge oak wheels and whatnot. So it's going to take a lot longer to get that one published as well. So yeah, it just depends. I think that people, just by reading the names of the people working on it in London, are are probably South Asian maybe. And so they might not have heard of our kind of buffalo or our Red River card as well. So anyway, it's kind of fun.
Any other questions? Do any of the kids have questions? Nice.
Why is it hard to speak Michif?
Oh yeah, that's because it's a hard language, because it's a combination of Cree, like a First Nations language in the Anishinaabe, and French. And so, and it kind of makes up its own rules. So I think it's kind of hard. Yeah, it is. I don't know. Some people might not think it's hard. I find it hard.
It's a very good question.
Mhm.
Any other
Thanks,
questions
Jill.
from the audience?
I have a question.
Oh. Want me to run that? I can run the microphone over there.
This was real.
Yeah.
So my question is, do either of these fiddle players have recordings anywhere that you could listen to?
I don't think so. A lot of old Métis fiddlers, like I grew up with quite a few old Métis fiddlers in our area. And so there was Moses Ducharme, who lived at the height of land as you're going from Glassland to Middle Lake. There was Hap Boyer, who lived out of North Battleford. And then there was George Delorme, which is a relative of ours, that played as well. And so there were lots of kind of local fiddle players, but then most of them did not record, because recording back then was, you had to go to a large city, you had to go to a studio, and it all had to be, so formal. Whereas now you can just record on a phone. So I think Moses Ducharme did have somebody tape record him, but the sound quality is so poor, it's very hard to know. Yeah, to see.
All right, any last questions from the audience? Oh, well, we got two, never mind.
They're just getting warm.
Yeah, how do you decide which stories to turn into books?
Okay, that's a really interesting question. So because I was a teacher and we didn't have a lot of Métis stories when we started teaching, right, Court? Right, Rita? And so I just wanted more stories out there. And I always think, how can they be engaging for the reader? And are they going to teach something about our culture to the reader? Because it's not just Métis kids read these, right? All kinds of kids read them. So most of my stories are historical fiction. And so these last couple are more entertainment kind of stories. Like Koohkoom's Royal Bannock is mostly for entertainment, even though we did dance for the Queen. And this one here is pretty much an entertainment story as well. But I don't know, just what's engaging and whatnot. And I often read the stories to children beforehand, or to groups of people beforehand, and to see if they enjoy it.
You're a pretty multi-talented person. Is there a skill that's unordinary to you that you would bring into your arsenal of your creativity in your work?
Oh my God, what a hard question. My brain is going. Is there a skill? I think that I do have a little bit of a skill, because I am the youngest of five, with five sisters. And so I learned to torment them a lot. And so I think that if you read my stories, there's a little bit of that in the stories of tormenting older siblings. I have no idea how to answer the questions. I'm just making something up, but that's kind of where I'm going with that. That's the first thing that came to my head. Thanks, George, for the hard question.
As an older sibling, that is a skill. Any other final questions from our audience? All right. I think that's probably good then. Thank you once again, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Wilfred. Thank you, Joseph, for coming here and making this such a special event. It's always a pleasure to have you guys. Thank you all for braving the cold and for being with us here on Independent Bookstore Day. We're really, really grateful. If you'd like to get a book signed, like I said before, you're welcome to do so and just pay for it after. That's totally cool. Some up here, some on the signing table, and Can we have a final round of applause for our speakers today?
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. I didn't think we'd get this many people. So it was a very nice surprise. Thank you.
Hanging up the same.